where is the year? This has been the longest year ever. And we just getting halfway through. What up, Search fam? Sade here. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new, my name is Sade. I'm out here curating and co-creating a cool ass life. And I be telling y'all about my books very frequently these days. So whether you keep coming back to this corner of the internet or this is your first time running across me, you should consider joining my internet family because it's real cool over here. Like it's chill. So hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. Let you know when I am posting, which is usually on the weekends. And today, Chad, we're going to do the mid-year freakout tag. And I saw a couple of other booktubers do this. So I was like, oh, that's really cute. That's really fun. Because I was going to tell y'all about some of my favorite books from 2025 so far. Anyway, so as usual, if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my iPad that has all the things because I can't be trusted to remember stuff. If it's not written down, it doesn't exist, But anyway, so let's talk about what I've done so far over the course of the year. Let's back up to December of 2024 when I posted January 2025 when I posted my goals for 2025. And I said, the goal is to, one, read less or read larger works that take longer and like give myself the space to be like, oh, you don't have to read quickly. Like sit down and read this book and enjoy it, even if it takes you a minute. I was going to read more slowly. I was going to read fewer books. Ciao.
A lie detector determined that was a lie.
I have read so far in the year of our Lord 2025, 105 books. Why is my life like this? So yes, I have read a lot of books, but are we surprised? No, not really. For the most part, I have read books within the up to a little less than 500 pages. So like most of my books, 48% under 300 pages, 48% that is between 300 and 499 pages. And per Storygraph, I've read 88 fiction books and 13 nonfiction books. I don't know how true that is because I read a lot of books and articles for work. So that number of how much nonfiction I've read is probably a bit higher. And I'm surprised and kind of proud of myself. I've been taking down audiobooks like it ain't nobody's business. I've done 45% of the books that I've read have been audiobooks so far this year, 26% in print and 30% have been digital. So that's cool. That's cool. The best books that I have read so far, and I had 3. Because I've read some pretty good books this year so far, but you've heard me talk about it, and that's Sky Full of Elephants. I just had such a great time reading that book. It was so good, and my hard copy is in my office at the schoolhouse. But it was just so well written. It was such a good time. Like it did not disappoint. Next is A Love Song for Ricky Wilde, which when you talk about a book that is just dreamy and sort of makes you swoon, that's it for me. Like it was just gorgeously written. And I listened to it on audiobook, and I'm still working on getting a physical copy because that is a book that I do want to own. And I'm so mad that I missed out on the cover snob edition because it was gorgeous. And then last is a little bit of a surprise is Poison Heart by Mae Pierce. I had such a great time reading that. Like that, maybe not best books as far as like how it's written, but it was so compelling. It was funny. I had such a great time reading it. The best sequel that I've read so far this year. I have a couple. One was The Missing God's Lawyer by Mia Monique. And y'all know I had been waiting for the sequel to The Grim Reaper's Lawyer, and this did not disappoint. It was funny. It was compelling. I pulled at my heartstrings at the end. I think it was worth the wait, and I'm so glad I got to read it. And I am really glad I also reread The Grim Reaper's Lawyer and then read this, so I kind of got them as a sort of continuation. It was just fun. It was a great time. Y'all just heard me talk about this one, that Saint Seducing Gold. That's how you do a sequel, okay? This is how you do a sequel. Shakespearean England, you got Orishas, you got Midsummer Night Dream Fairies. You've got more intrigue in dealing with class and racism. Ugh, it was so good. And then also Kills Well with Others by Deanna Rayburn. And I read this at the top of the year, and this was the sequel to Killers of a Certain Age. And it did not disappoint. And I had such a good time in sort of getting more of the backstory of how the four go through their career, their mentors, relationship, and even their interpersonal and romantic relationships. I had such a good time with that. This was one of my favorites so far. New releases that you want to read but you haven't yet. One, I've got Harlem Rhapsody, which I got from the library, but I just wasn't ready or in the space to read it yet because I think I was reading some other things. Zeal was on my list, but I actually just finished Zeal, and I enjoyed Zeal so much. It was a great book, and I'll talk about that in the July reading wrap up. And then I sort of just thought of this one because it came up on my Libby, and I just downloaded it. Let's see. Survival is a Promise by Alexis Pauline Gumbs, and it is about the work of Audre Lorde. So I'm really interested in listening to that. I got it on audiobook. It just got delivered like yesterday, so I'm excited to pick that up and get into that probably as one of my devotional practice books. Most anticipated reads for the second half of the year. Okay. Y'all have heard me talk about Calabasas, R.F. Kuang. I'm reading Babel now. I might get to Yellowface this year because it's on my bookshelf, or The Poppy War. Either one. I don't know yet. We'll see what happens. But I'm excited about Calabasas because it is Dante's Inferno retelling. I think it's also still Dark Academia period. I'm excited. And R.F. Kuang's writing is just, it's great. It's great. It's difficult. Love to see it. Nine Tail by J.C. Lee, which I saw randomly at the public library in Indianapolis when I was there. And I read the back of it and I was like, oh, this sounds so good. The description says, an enemy on her tails, an innocent at her side, and a dangerous power within her that could destroy them all. J.C. Lee melds Korean folklore with modern Americana in this fiery new series. Sunny Cho aspires to be the dullest, least interesting person in any given room, which can be challenging for a nine-tails fox spirit. So she drifts from city to city, staying clear of any and all attachment, and keeps her fox buried deep inside of her. It is better this way. She would rather live half of herself than risk losing control over her terrible powers. Ethan Lee, a friend she left behind 8 years ago, is a brilliant and distractingly hot PI. When he tracks her down and asks her to help him find his brother's murderer, Sunny knows her uneventful life is about to be turned upside down. Traversing the mortal realm and the world of the gods, Sunny and Ethan discover their quest is much more dire than mere vengeance, and their friendship might be more. An ancient evil is stirring, and Sunny is faced with an impossible choice: save the world from annihilation or claim the love fated by the heavens. So I was like, I'm gonna have to get that. I'm gonna have to pick that up. Safety Net by Deanna Gray. I talked about Sunny Disposition, which is the first book in the Mendel Hawk series. Safety Net is the third book, and I told y'all I was excited about it because it's about Naomi's best friend, Celeste. It's her love story, so I'm excited about that. And then That Is How They Get You by Damon Young, which is about sort of an anthology about Black American comedy. And I love Damon Young. I've been reading Damon Young's work since Very Smart Brothers, and I loved the the blog Very Smart Brothers way back in the Gap. It was just so smart. They were so funny. So I'm excited to read that. And one of my colleagues, Ashawn Crawley, is one of the contributors. So I'm excited to read Ashawn's take on comedy. And I think it's comedy tied to the Black church, which is, is up my alley. Favorite new author debut or new to you? Y'all already know what I'm about to say. Sky Full of Elephants by Sibo Campbell. Like, I just, the book just kind of just like my brain. And yeah. Is this going to become a part of my personality? Perhaps. Books that made me cry. The Tea Dragon Society, which was a trilogy of middle grade books, and it was about found family, and it's diverse and it's queer and it has dragons. I read all 3 books probably in like an hour and a half because they're not that long, but I was sobbing because it was just so sweet, and the connections and the relationships that are formed and how they deal with difficulty and finding oneself and finding your place. I had such a good time. It was so good. Also, Black and Blues by Imani Perry, as well as Unlearning Shame by Dr. Devin Price. I'm going to talk about these 2 together because they made me cry, because I saw myself in so much of the realities that I face as a Black woman in America and a queer person, and where shame has been tied to my own life, and how that is tied to white supremacy and patriarchy and all the, strictures of oppression. So both of those books, they got me because like the call was coming from inside the house, but they were very good books. Books that made me happy. Oh my goodness. So one was The Fake Boyfriend Fiasco by Talia Hibbert. It was so good. And I loved Nick and Aria, and they were just so funny, and it was just so cute. I just enjoyed it so much. The spice was giving like I needed it to give. Like, it was just a great time. Also, I'll say Voyage of the Damned, because it was not only a compelling story, but it was funny. The audio narrator for that was just fantastic, and I enjoyed that a lot. The most beautiful book that I've bought this year, these are hard ones, but I picked out, again, Voyage of the Damned, which I purchased this one from Illumicrate after I finished the book, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna need this one. And so yeah, it's gorgeous. So you have the sides are sprayed, and then the cover is just gorgeous, and then on the inside you have a diagram of the ship. And so I thought that was beautiful. And then, of course, my special edition of Oathbound by Tracy Deonn, which y'all have seen this before. And that, too, has sprayed edges that were just gorgeous. So it's going to be the special editions for me. The book that disappointed me the most, I have a few. One was Lore of the Wilds. I wanted to like it so bad, especially since I too got a special edition copy of this one. I just didn't. I didn't. I got through it. It was okay, but I just wanted so much more for it as a cozy fantasy. I wanted the selling point of it being a why choose to be more pronounced, because it wasn't. So like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna read the sequel. Also, Mrs. V's Hot Girl Summer. This one, I again was so excited to read it. Had an older protagonist in all of this, but just the writing and sort of the way that decisions were made, and the way that communication was happening and assumptions were made, it got on my nerves. It really did. Like, we don't have to be like this. But that's just, again, these is my opinions. And then lastly, Curvy Ever After by Twyla Turner. And I've read other Twyla Turner books, and I enjoyed it so much. So these were supposed to be retellings of fairy tales. And okay, the fact that the camera overheated lets me know that that's what I needed to say. But anyway, Curvy Ever After, I really just wanted to like it, but I did not care for how the stories were reimagined. They just weren't very compelling for me. But again, these are my opinions. My favorite new author, maybe Olivia Atwater, who wrote Half a Soul. I can't say for sure because I need to read another of their books, but I really, Half a Soul was beautiful. I enjoyed it. I had a really good time with it. Everybody else that I've read, many of the books that I've read this year so far are authors that I've read before, and we know I read a lot. So like, I don't know. Books that surprised me. One, My Sister the Serial Killer, because whoa, what a ride. I think what surprised me was it was so short, but it was so well paced. And even like, it wasn't a whole bunch of jump scares, but the drama in it had my jaw on the ground. That was a good one. Also, The Taking of Jake Livingston, I think because I had such a hard time getting into it with the physical book, but I read the audiobook and I was I enjoyed it. It was not what I thought it was going to be, but it was very good. And then again, Voyage of the Damned, because I kind of went into this one off vibes and I just had such a good time. It was fantastic. It was fantastically written. The characters were compelling, and the fact that there were so many characters and I don't feel like I missed anything in the characters' development. Yeah, that was really surprising. It was really well done. Newest fictional crush. Child, y'all just heard me talk about them. Zach Davis, Nick Cousteau, Talia Hibbert, girl. These men, like, they were both. So Nick is charming. He's got a sense of humor. Like, yeah. And then Zach's demisexualness, but he's like total cinnamon roll and so sweet and just, yeah. Talia Hibbert, girl, you sure do know how to write a man, okay? And then newest favorite characters. Again, from The Fake Boyfriend Fiasco, I said this is probably gonna be one of my favorite books of the year. Aria, she's her, okay? Like, she doesn't take any BS off of anybody. I love that she's fat, she's dark skinned with blonde hair, she got tats, she got piercings, she's irreverent and also still very vulnerable, right? Like, has deep fears that she's working through. That's her. And then Celeste St. Pierre from Jewel Me Twice. Oh, I enjoyed this book so much as well. And I love Celeste because I can relate with her being a PhD, a Black woman PhD, and what all that means. But also, she fine, and she in her 40s, and she's a baddie and so smart, but also too dealing with a lot of skeletons and demons in her life that she's working through as she's trying to pull this last job on behalf of her late mentor. And so I'm probably going to read Jewel Me Twice again because I really enjoyed that one. That was a good one. Yeah, that's going to be on my favorites list as well, I think. And then lastly, books that you still need to get to by the end of the year. Babel. I'm working through Babel right now. It is over there somewhere. And then because all my books are strewn about, because I'm getting a new bookshelf. And then Black Religion in the Madhouse by Judith Weisenfeld. I've started this one. I got to pick it back up. It's going to be a hard one. And I think that's why I'm having a hard time getting through it, because I know it's going to have me pissed. It's going to have me crying. But also it's super important. And I get to meet Judith Weisenfeld in the fall. So Yeah, so I gotta get it together. But also, A Crown So Cursed by L.L. McKinney. Y'all heard me talk about this. The way I gush about the Nightmare Verse series is a shame that I have not read this book yet, because I don't want it to be over. And then also Bloodmark and Oathbound. I gotta go on and get those 2 done, because what am I waiting for, really? So I might have to like read it audiobook and physical book. We'll see, because I've been having a hard time with physical books right now that aren't work related. So I'm like getting my things back up. So yes, these are, and then of course I have like my book camp books, but we're not gonna talk about those right here right now. But that's what I got going so far for 2025. I'm excited to see what else I can get through in the rest of the year. I think what I really want to make sure I'm doing is reading the books I got at home. I feel like I've said this before, but yes. So I'm going to be turning out these books that are in my possession in the second half of the year. We'll see how many we get to, because we done already met our goal. As always, friends, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend about the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.